Hello, everyone, and welcome to our CBD class today. We are going to be chatting about cannabinoids, the human body, and the endocrine, the endocannabinoidal system, and what the difference is between CBD and hemp. And yeah, we are very excited to share all of that with you. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Just bear with me for one second. So yeah, we're going to be discussing Young Living and Nature's Ultra CBD, and what is the amazing company that Young Living has joined up with. We're going to be discussing C2Seal and why Young Living went with partnering with Nature's Ultra. And I just want to kick off by starting with a little video that we have from Nature's Ultra, just so that you can see what Nature's Ultra is all about.
Nature's Ultra produces a variety of CBD products infused with Young Living essential oils that offer a wide range of natural therapeutic benefits. We believe that harnessing the untapped potential of CBD, combined with the proven power of Young Living essential oils, will help people from all walks of life to achieve increased wellness in their everyday lives. With Nature's Ultra, you're getting pure CBD with 0% THC, all paired with powerful Young Living essential oils for targeted effects. We call this the Nature's Ultra Smart Spectrum. All our ingredients are derived from natural sources, vegan approved, gluten-free, and cultivated using world-class organic farming practices. Best of all, every stage of our production process, from our farms in Colorado to our bottling facility in Utah, has been rigorously tested and approved by Young Living's seed-to-seal quality standards. With help from Young Living essential oils, Nature's Ultra is pioneering a new way forward with CBD, which has proven to have tremendous potential. We hope you'll join us on this exciting journey.
So we are going to be chatting about what exactly is CBD, what is a cannabinoid, what is the difference between hemp and marijuana, and what they both come from the cannabis sativa type, and yeah, the complex cannabinoidal system of the body. So I think we're going to kick off with Shell. Let me just get to your screen. There we go.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you about hemp and marijuana, and are they the same thing? So the hemp and marijuana are the same plant, but from different varieties. There are two different varieties from the cannabis sativa species. It's the table, slide 4. There we go. One more. Perfect. So over here, you'll see the blue is the hemp and the green is the marijuana. Now, the hemp plant is tall and has thin leaves, and the marijuana plant is smaller and has bigger leaves. So to say that hemp and marijuana are the same, they're definitely not. So let's take, for example, how this, I always thought that they were the same, but surprise, surprise, as I've been doing with Young Living, I've now learned that they're completely different. So when we're looking at hemp and marijuana, let's think of grass. So there are 12,000 different species of grass. They aren't all the same, but they derive from the same species. The same as roses. There's like over 150,000 species of roses, but there are different variations of them. And this is what hemp and marijuana is. So a variety of cannabis is grown that grows tall and has thin leaves, like I've explained to you over here. And so marijuana is produced when the hemp is grown without the male variety present, and the resin of the female plant is full of THC. So there we go. Marijuana has THC and hemp has your CBD, which is what we are looking for. Whereas CBD is produced when the hemp plant is grown with both the male and female parts and the resin is filled with CBD. Let's explain that quickly in a nutshell. CBD is hemp plant, THC is marijuana plant, and the cannabis is the actual plant, which is the species of the plant which hemp and marijuana come from. Hemp has low levels of THC, 0.3% or less, and high levels of CBD, while nature's ultra products contain CBD isolate, which has 0.0 THC. The question you are probably asking, if you are new here and you haven't used nature's CBD yet, will nature's CBD make you high? I can stand here in front of you and say with a firm no. It will not make you high. It gives you no feelings of even feeling that you're not yourself. So which one? Hemp or marijuana? It's a no-brainer, guys. I definitely want no THC. I want to be able to drive my kids to school and get there okay. And I'm sure people with heavy machinery who operate heavy machinery during the day would like to be able to keep all their ligaments intact. So it would definitely be hemp. Ultimately, they come from the same species as I've already discussed, but they are two different compounds, but have completely different effects on the body. Marijuana, as I've already said, contains more THC, so it's psychoactive, meaning it creates that high or that mind-altering experience, whereas hemp contains more CBD, which is non-psychoactive, which means that there is no high or mind-altering experiences. And I'm going to be handing over to Chrissy, who is going to explain to you what a cannabinoid is.
Okay, hello everyone. What is a cannabinoid? The word cannabinoid refers to every chemical substance, regardless the structure or the origin, that joins the receptors, the cannabinoid receptors of the body and the brain. There are over 100 unique compounds found in chemical compounds found in both hemp and marijuana called cannabinoids. One of the primary natural cannabinoids are found in the hemp plant. The two most famous cannabinoids are CBD and THC. So did you know that little cannabinoids float around inside of our bodies? Yes, we already have them. And not only do we have them, Young Living's essential oils have them too, such as lavender, rosemary, cinnamon bark, peppermint, ylang-ylang, copaiba, black pepper, and clove. All right, cannabinoids supports our entire endocrine system, just like our awesome Ningxia supplement supports many of our body's systems. Cannabinoids in oils help to support with the following as well: depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, inflammation, ALS, which is diseases that affects the neurons of the spinal cord, bone growth, anxiety, nausea, fibromyalgia, autoimmune diseases such as MS, which stands for multiple sclerosis, diabetes, and then if you really think this was interesting, then I'm going to give over to Ashley DeHead, who is our amazing leader and our scientific guru, who's going to get all scientifically with you guys. Thank you.
Hello, guys. I am excited to talk a little bit about the endocannabinoid system, or for short, ECS. So I have always pictured it, and I want you to kind of go along with me. When you see a diagram or an outline of what your actual nervous system looks like, it looks crazy in your body, right? It has all kinds of like pokey looking, little tiny finger looking are nerve endings all over our bodies. So actually the endocannabinoid system, it really is hard for us to identify what it looks like, and I'm going to get into why in just a second. But what I have learned about it, and it's a really cool thing, is that for it to actually work and help us survive and thrive in life, we have to unlock the receptors that are part of this system. So I picture, ready for it, and we're going to go more and more into it. I picture little locks all over our bodies that lock the system down and makes it not able to be used. I'm going to talk about why CBD is the key to unlock the receptors of that system. So the main job of this system, quite simply put, is that it really helps us to maintain homeostasis or reach it. So that's for pain. That would be for anything of any kind of inflammatory issue. That would also be for emotional wellness and stability, because we don't want big peaks and valleys in those areas of our life. The other thing that it helps us to really do is when we need to take things down. I want to explain it really simply. If we need to take things down a notch, it's going to be calming. If we need to bring things up a notch, it's going to raise us to that level. That's how it can help with focus, raising awareness and focus. It can also be great for calming or bringing things down to where they're supposed to be. So I like to picture it very much like that. Like it looks like maybe you have all this crazy stuff going on in your brain or in your muscles, and it's going to keep it so that it works together the way it's supposed to. I'm going to get more into those locks in just a second. So the system sends out natural enzymes. We know enzymes are the building blocks of every single tissue in our bodies and every single, wait for it, every single part of our endocrine system as well, which is our precursor to our hormones. So what happens is that it sends out these natural enzymes to help regulate us and again, maintain that spot where we're supposed to be, where God's design ultimately is, and that's in us actually being whole and healthy. So endocannabinoids and the receptors are found throughout the bodies. So throughout the body. And it's hard for us to identify exactly where Laura's are and Shell's are and Chris's are, because the system is linked, but it can only be unlocked when we actually have clear communication between the endocannabinoids themselves and the actual receptors. And that means healthy enzyme production as well. So they're in our glands, immune cells, tissues, organs, a lot are in our brains and along our actual spinal cord. So that means they impact every single system in our entire bodies. So in each one of our tissues, say the muscle fiber in your bicep versus maybe the limbic region of your brain, those actual that system or the cannabinoids in it, they have different tasks, but the goal is always the same. And quite simply, the goal is for us to maintain that state of homeostasis. And that might sound weird, but we really want things to work in a way where there is harmony and the ability for things to actually not get out of whack, even when there is a negative impact on them. So say there's an inflammatory event or there's an emotional outburst. We want to actually stay in that space where it makes the most sense for our bodies to maintain ultimate health. All right, so let's actually look at a diagram of the human endocannabinoid system. And this is going to give us a picture of what it might look like in our bodies. And the reason I say might look like, if you need to zoom in on this on your screen or look at it up close, here's what happens. We sometimes are not going to actually be able to see these receptor sites in our bodies because of blockages in our systems or something that I would call not ultimate health. So if you're on your phone or computer and you can really zoom in, I want you to look at something. There's two really important receptors. If you see it on your screen, CB1, they're in blue, and CB2. CB2 is in green. Really important to note that the main receptors, CB1 and CB2, are targeted specifically by CBD and not by a full spectrum oil that contains elements of like THC or other really gross toxins that could be found. Because if you notice when Shell's talking about the difference between hemp and marijuana, they actually get mixed together a lot. And then you get the nastiness of what actually is a marijuana plant actually cleanses the soil and it soaks up toxins. And they're stored the most in the THC, which if you think about it, it's kind of interesting because people are like, trying to get high with their toxins. I mean, being real, if you think about it, they're like literally having a psychoactive effect, but they're also getting the same level of toxins as could be found in like a cigarette. We don't know what's in the soil in the ground, especially if they're used for cleansing. So on the blue side, this is great for appetite, immune cells, motor activity, pain perception, short-term memory, and thinking. It's a different one for me when I look at it. That's different for me than the CB2. So CB2, quite frankly, is going to be what affects everyone, even if you're in optimal health. This is bone, adipose tissue, cardiovascular system, central nervous system, eyes, gut, immune system, kidneys, liver, pancreas, reproductive system, respiratory tract, skeletal muscle, really all muscle, skin, and tumors. So specifically, you want both of these receptors to be unlocked in your body, because within immune cells, like with CB2, versus a lot of these more specific things that are more brain function with CB1. So now that you know what's affected and you know that they're like little locks, all of them, so they actually work, let's talk about how important this system is. So this system, the closest thing that I can compare it to is our lymphatic system. Nobody knows they need a good one until you see that it's not working. So our endocannabinoid system, no one needs a good one unless you realize it ain't working. You're like, oh my goodness, I have all these things going on. So help with digestion and pain and reproduction, stress, appetite control, mood, temperature is really an important one, and even memory. So I want you to think about it. Think about that. If you've ever heard of people using therapeutic dosages of CBD, a lot of them are having trouble with this because it's a side effect of something like chemotherapy, or it's a side effect of another, I think of a lot of people with autoimmune issues. That's a specific. CB1, those things are really going to be in the CB1 category. The CB2 is like the rest of our body, like basically all of the systems. All right. So why do you think you could use any of help on this? I would love for you to just go ahead and comment in the chat. Do you think any of these systems in your body need some help? So CBD interacts with our bodies in a really specific way through that endocannabinoid system. So what it helps us do, again, to kind of reiterate it, if we are needing to maintain homeostasis, if our body's too hot, it helps us cool down. If we're hungry, but our tummies aren't growling and our appetite is suppressed from another medical condition, CBD is going to show us that we're hungry. If we have a lot of anger issues because of a TBI or some other brain damage, what it's going to do is it's going to basically help our body heal itself by allowing that to function properly. So I want you guys to think about that. Pain is always a positive thing because it's a key to showing us the actual issue at hand. So pain is basically just a nod for us to figure out what's going on. It's not always a bad thing. And so in some of these, you're like, what? I kind of like when my tummy doesn't growl when I'm hungry. Well, no, you need to know that your body can take care of itself. So same thing with your immune system. When we say it helps with our immune system, we need to know when we're run down. We need to know when we need to support with things like vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc. So CBD is going to help us to really interact with that endocannabinoid system and help those signals work well, and also help those natural enzymes actually get released. Super, super important. The other thing that I want you to think about is one of the primary natural cannabinoids is the hemp plant. There's some other natural cannabinoids, and there's other ones, like there's other things that have the ability to impact the system. But the main, as in a lot of research I've done shows like over 85% of our actual cannabinoids are found from a hemp plant that interact with the human body in a proper way. So our body has the receptors, the cannabinoid goes into the receptor, attaches to it, and unlocks the actual receptor, because then the entire system, think about it, if the door is locked to the house, what does that mean? No one can get in. If the door is locked to the bedroom can't be used, right? Because nothing's allowed in. So we have different levels. I mean, or like a video game, whatever helps your mind. I always think of locks, like padlocks, like it unlocking, like, oh, it's going to unlock the ones in my, basically we think like the groin area, there's a bunch, right? It's going to unlock those. And it's going to travel up and it's going to unlock the ones that are near my cardiovascular system. And then it's going to unlock. So I think of it every time I take a dropper of CBD, I think about like unlocking something that my body was designed to have, to use, and to thrive. So it also helps with really, really overall our memory, our ability to regulate pain, our pain tolerance, as in our pain our ability to feel pain. Pain tolerance is not saying feel more pain. And of course, our memory. And our memory is long-term and short-term, because CB1 and CB2 are going to partner together to make memory really affected. So keep in mind, this is always a goal of maintaining homeostasis. So it will be different for everyone, because all of us have different things out of whack. All of us should be, here's our baseline. And sometimes we got a bunch of junk floating up here. And then sometimes we got a bunch of nasty junk way down here. And it could be, again, manifest as physical things or as emotional things. So this is why my family uses CBD products, because we all have wacky things every day. And it's why I use it specifically in a certain way that's different and unique to how my son and my husband use it, because our bodies are different, but we all have that system that needs to be unlocked. So that's what I want to leave you with. I don't want to get too sciencey. That is a great overview. And it is been used for thousands of years, which I think is awesome to look at and to note. So I promise I will stop talking so much. I'll let the masterminds behind this class take back over. I just want you all to know that this is an amazing presentation. I've taught this class for several years and I've never had any slides or a real script. So Shell and Laura, you're amazing. And we're so happy to partner with you to teach and learn together.
Thanks, Ashley, and I have to agree with you. This is such a fun class. So I just had to say something before I tell you about what you're seeing on your screen. I remember when the CBD Calm roller came out in South Africa, and I was like, oh, I'm going to take a picture and post about it. I'm so excited that it's coming, but I already had one that I'd gotten from the US market. And I quickly took a picture and I looked at my husband. We were going to bed. We were actually I was getting into bed and putting a post on Instagram, and I went to my husband and I was like, here, try some. And I put it on the back of his neck, and I quickly put the post on, and I turned around and he'd passed out. He was out. He was like, he'd been so stressed out, and that was exactly what he needed to just woosah for the night to go to sleep. And he had the best sleep ever. And now I'm using the CBD muscle rub on my wrist, because are there any moms here of babies? Because my 9 kilogram, 6-month-old baby that I'm holding like this all the time in that horrible position is like, it's getting that like carpal tunnel-ish type thing. I haven't got a diagnosis. I'm just saying that's what it feels like to me. And I keep putting that on, and I realize the days that I don't do it, because I'm like, oh, there's that pain again. So I'm so grateful for this stuff. Anyway, we've spoken a little bit about the difference between the CBD and the THC. You can actually see here the chemical difference, the actual molecular structure is completely different. And what I'm going to do is, in the chat, I'm putting in a link that you guys need to save for later. It's a really cool video from Lindsay Elmore. She's a pharmacist, and she did a really cool like description on this, on the difference between the two. But I think the main thing to keep in mind is the difference between the psychoactive and the non-psychoactive. Okay, so the way that she kind of explains it is, she's got 2 bowls of noodles, and she's like, they look the same, they seem to be the same, but this one is made from wheat and this one is not. So there you go. They have some of the same properties. One's penne, the other one's penne, but this one's made from wheat and this one is not made from wheat. So, that's an interesting way of seeing it, that while there are some overlaps and, they are like cousins, that's a really good thing, especially if you're going for random drug tests and whatever. This is not something that's going to be showing up in your system. So that's something to keep in mind. And then, what is a terpene? So it's an organic, naturally occurring compound found in plants and essential oils. They are similar to cannabinoids. Terpenes bind to receptors in the way that, in the brain, and they act on the endocannabinoid system in the body in a similar way. So it's also got, there's different types of them. So based on the number of the isoprene units they have, they're also classified as mono, di, tri, tetra, and sesquiterpenes. Say that word fast. guys, we're learning cool new things here. Sesquiterpenes are going to be your new best friend. It's definitely a new word that I've learned since joining Young Living. So they are mostly found in plants, and they form the major constituents of essential oils from plants. Okay, so why are these terpenes beneficial to us? So they are hydrocarbons, and they're found in the essential oils of the plant. Okay, so they, as Ashley said, affect the CB1 and CB2 receptors and the neurotransmitters in the brain. So there's really good evidence that suggests that terpenes have a direct physiological effect on the body, especially for linalool and limonene. See, we are working on our vocab, guys. So this means that a linalool-rich strain is likely to have a calming effect and to provide pain relief, while the limonene-rich strains are likely to be mood elevating. So this is kind of like what Ashley was touching on. So studies are being done on plants that contain terpenes, showing that they've got so many medicinal properties like anti-cancer, antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral, anti-hyperglycemic, analgesic, anti-inflammatory, antiparasitic, all those things. Okay, and I'm going to put a link in here that you can actually go look at this article with all the studies and all the various like resources and everything that shows all this information. It's crazy. So it's also used to enhance skin penetration, prevent inflammatory disease. We know that that is the root of all evil, is inflammation. So yeah, modern medicine, nowadays modern medicine uses large scales of terpenes for various drug treatments. Amazing, amazing stuff. So as was touched on before, terpene-rich essential oils have been used for centuries to support the body's wellness. And you might be familiar with the limonene, which is found in the citrus oils of the Young Living oils, and then the menthol that's found in peppermint oil. So I know Chrissy touched on some of these as well. But some of the oils that contain these would be peppermint, copaiba, black pepper, cinnamon bark, lavender, ylang ylang, orange, and grapefruit. And also cedarwood and frankincense are really high in sesquiterpenes. So those are two favorites. I actually just like doused myself in cedarwood before joining this class because that's how I roll. That just, my brain likes cedarwood a lot. But yeah, enough about me and what I love to use. I'd love to hear what you love to use. Throw it in the chat and we'll hear from Carissa now.
Hi, so thanks, Annalie. That's really amazing stuff. You learn as you go, and it's so amazing. So I'm not very familiar with CBD. I've always been very cautious because our minds are programmed by society to believe all these wrong things. And I've been struggling for a while. Like a really long muscle in my back gets stuck somewhere between my wings here at the back and then to my lowest spine. And the one night I just said to him, I can't handle it anymore. Please just put CBD rub on and just like massage it a bit. And since then, I haven't had any problems with my muscles, which is really, really amazing. So let's talk about what makes Nature's Ultra different. CBD products of all kinds have flooded the market, and it can be tough to separate the great from the not so great products, let alone understand the CBD terminology like isolate, full spectrum, broad spectrum, smart spectrum. Like in the beginning, I didn't even know what was happening. But before we take a look at the different types of CBD, let's look at what makes Nature's Ultra different. There's a lot of CBD products out there that don't divulge all the ingredients or put ingredients on the label that aren't actually in the product. With our legislations and things like that, what's usually in the bottle is not on the label, or vice versa, what's on the label isn't in the bottle. They don't own their own farms, meaning that you don't really know where the plant comes from or what testing was implemented to ensure you get the safest form of CBD oil. And that's why Young Living has the seed to seal process or promise that we will get into later. But Nature's Ultra prides themselves on what is in their products and are not shy about showing you what happens on their farms and the process of making these CBD oils. Like I said, we will shortly be telling you about these processes that Young Living prides themselves in and why they have partnered with Nature's Ultra. Let's just first discuss the different types of CBD products. Sorry, I'm just trying to. So there's different CBD products. You get the full spectrum, which contains the full plant extract, leaves, stalk, flowers, etc., and all the phytocannabinoids as well as THC. The downside of having the full spectrum is you don't know what's all inside there. And as Ashley said, the CBD plant actually absorbs all the toxins and unnatural products in the soil, cleaning the soil for other plants to grow. And with that, from THC, you can actually get a synergistic high feeling, which will cause you to also fail like a drug test or something like that. But the benefits of a full spectrum oil are terpenes that create a synergistic effect in the body when combined with CBD. So we've learned about terpenes and how great they are for your body. You get terpenes, you get THC, it kind of balances each other out, and you don't really have the perfect positive energy that you would like. Then let's take a look at broad spectrum. Broad spectrum is generally the same as full spectrum, except for the fact that the THC is purified out. So you have a lower risk of failing a drug test. Then you get the CBD isolate, which is the purest form of CBD. It is just the cannabinoids. There's no terpenes, there's no THC, there's nothing in between. So you can actually pass a drug test, but the downside is there's no synergy. So there's no terpenes to help your body flow and things like that. And the CBD isolate is also extracted through CO2 extraction, which is used to remove everything from the product except the CBD compound. This leaves you with 0% THC, which means, like I said, little to no risk of failing a drug test, but there's no synergistic feeling. So let's look at smart spectrum. In order to get a synergistic effect, pure therapeutic grade essential oils can be added to add the terpenes back into CBD products, leading to the smart spectrum. So now you have the amazing CBD that's actually positive for your body, as well as the terpenes from essential oils creating different effects, which we will also get into later. And you also don't get the out of balance, high, mind-altering experiences. So it's actually, I want to say, safe for most people to use. And I've had a lot of friends that actually use it on their children as well. Ashley also uses it on her kids for different reasons. So we all know how powerful essential oils are. And now that they're added to the CBD, they're even more magnified. How amazing is that? Like essential oils, CBD, you can't have any better than that. So like I said, this is called smart spectrum, having CBD with essential oils. But why do you want smart spectrum? Because it is infused with Young Living essential oils that adhere to our strict C2 policy, it is unlike anything else on the market. The marriage of CBD oil and Young Living essential oils brings out the best in both. Nature's Ultra extracts the pure CBD and combines it with the best essential oils in the marketplace to provide an exclusive smart spectrum formula that's backed by the C2 promise. So you know exactly what you're getting and what benefits it has for you. There's no sideways on the label. There's nothing funny inside. You can actually go and visit the farms and see how they sow and how they reap and how they bottle all the things. It's really, really amazing. And next, I will be handing over to Shelley, who will be talking about some precautions to be aware of when using CBD.
Okay, it seems Shell just had a little bit of a technical problem there. Shell, are you back?
No, I was just finding it so funny when Ashley was talking about the endocannabinoid system, because, you know, the working on the class for today, my mind was playing funny games with me, and I actually couldn't really sleep last night. I kept on waking up, and the one time I actually woke up and I went, oh, my endocannabinoid system is telling my body it's cold. I'm not in good homeostasis. I'm cold. I need to pull the blanket over me. And then I woke up and I thought it was so funny how we actually think of things. But knowledge is power. And I think it's very important that we at all times know what we can do to help support us, because we have enough problems and stress going on in the world. And I'm just going to quickly speak to you a little bit about, like everything in life, there is always a possibility that there could be someone that taking any product could be harmful to them. And I just want to point out that, like our citrus fruits, if you have an allergic reaction to any citrus fruit and you use one of the citrus oils from Young Living, because it's cold pressed from the rind, you will also have an allergic reaction to the citrus fruit. So with that being said, I want to mention that even though grapefruit is one of the healthiest citrus fruits you can eat, however, you can't mix it with certain medications. And in our citrus CBD oil, there is grapefruit and orange. So I just want to bring this to your attention to be aware of it, so that you can consult with your doctor and see if you are on any of the prescriptions that I'm just going to speak to you about now. Consult with him and find out if it is safe to use. But the good news is that you can still use it topically, and I'm going to explain to you why. So according to the FDA, it can affect the rate that your liver processes the drugs, and this can be dangerous. So what happens is there's a slower breakdown of the drug that you're taking, and it goes more into your bloodstream, and this can have certain side effects and how they affect that the drug works. So the drug that interacts with citrus fruits includes statins. This doesn't mean you have to avoid eating grapefruit. It depends on what drug you have been prescribed to by the doctor. So statins are drugs used to lower cholesterol that prevent your body from making more cholesterol. The different types of statins can be Lipitor, and thank goodness I actually went into research to present, or to help present and put everything together, and my mind was racing and I was so excited to get all the information together. And then I said, hey, my husband takes Lipitor, and I was like, warning flags were going off. Thank goodness I've never ever let my husband take the CBD oil, even though I've wanted to. And I first started off with the citrus one. So luckily I never gave it to him, because Lipitor is one of them. Mevacor, Zocor, Lesocol, Livalol, Pravacol, and Crestal. So take an oil that is made up from citrus, or citrus in the CBD oil would be advised not to digest it. But remember, as I've said, you can apply it topically. So this is one of the interesting pieces of information I've come across, and if I find more, I shall be sure to share it. But right now, I'm going to hand over to Laura, who's going to tell us about the amazing Seed to Seal promise that Young Living promises its members in the products that they are giving us. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks so much, all the ladies, with all your knowledge. That's absolutely amazing. Yes, so Nature's Ultra is a company that has partnered with, or Young Living has partnered with Nature's Ultra, and they decided to partner with Nature's Ultra because they realized that Nature's Ultra was just as precautious and as cautious and as vigilant with their Seed to Seal equal to Young Living's Seed to Seal promise. So we all want to know what Seed to Seal is about. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Buch. He explains it, or Book. He explains it very nicely, and then I can also touch on some more.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Book, and I'm the Chief Science Officer here at Young Living. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about our new CBD line known as Nature's Ultra. We extract CBD oil from this plant, the hemp plant. This is actually a dried hemp plant. But hemp's actually a very unusual plant in the fact that it's something that we call a phytoremediator. Phytoremediators are plants that actually clean the soil, and they do this by drawing the contaminants in the soil up into the plant. Now that's great for the soil, but it's not necessarily good for the plants because they tend to accumulate a lot of contaminants. We're very, very careful where we source our hemp from. Our hemp farms are located at very high altitude in Colorado on farms that use only organic farming practices. Now that's already far above what most of our competitors do to ensure that they're getting the cleanest hemp oil possible. But we go a step further. We test our oils thoroughly to make sure that it's meeting our seed to seal standards. Come with me to the lab and I'll show you some of the tests that we do. So here we are in the quality control laboratories at Young Living, and I wanted to show you a few of the tests that we actually use to ensure that you're getting the best CBD products possible. This is an instrument called an ultra-high performance liquid chromatograph, and we use these instruments to measure the amount of CBD in every product to make sure you're really getting your money's worth. We also use instruments like these to make sure that you're actually getting 0% THC. Now down here is another suite of instruments that we call gas chromatographs. We can measure thousands of different impurities with these instruments. They're extremely sensitive and very accurate. Now speaking of impurities, another thing that we always want to check for are heavy metals, which come from the soil and go into the plants. Bad heavy metals, things like lead and mercury. This is an instrument called an inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometer, and it can find heavy metals down to the part per billion level. It's extremely sensitive, and this is a way that we can make sure that your products are as clean as they can possibly be. And now finally, let me walk you over here and show you something that most people never get to see. This is our state-of-the-art microbiology laboratory. And of course, we have microbiologists working in here all the time to ensure that our products don't contain any nasty bacteria or yeasts or mold. So we test each and every product thoroughly for microbes. This is just some of the things that we do to ensure that you're getting the absolute best CBD products from Nature's Ultra and Young Living.
So I could not have explained that any better than Dr. Buch. And I was absolutely amazed the first time I saw a video about Young Living's laboratory. And then when I started learning and researching and reading up about seed to seal, I realized, geez, I mean, normal organic standard, Young Living goes more than double, sometimes triple that in some countries. So what seed to seal is, and he didn't quite touch on the farms and what the process is. So even the soil is has been rested and is pure and is clean. The water, we don't use any municipal water. It's all filtered and it's clean water. As you heard, the farm is very high altitude in Colorado. So from the seeds get tested, then they get planted in clean soil, they get given clean water, and then they get harvested. When harvesting, just for example, I'm going off the track with CBD, but for example, Young Living went through a few different kinds of species of sheep to find a sheep that will eat the weeds and not the lavender on the lavender farm. So Young Living doesn't use any pesticides. Sometimes some of the plants get hand weeded. Sometimes they use partner planting. So partner planting is when you plant a different plant with a plant, and that deters insects and pesticides. So that was just amazing for me when I found out about that. And seeing that after the harvest, it goes and it gets distilled. So it's either steam distilled, whatever the process is, that they, like the citrus is cold pressed from the rind, and flowers are steam distilled to extract and to harvest the oils. So then it gets tested on the farm. They also have outside people that test our oils. So it's not only us saying that our oils are clean. We have outside testers, and then that whole batch goes to the lab and it gets tested as well in the Young Living lab. I mean, Gary Young, I heard a story of Gary Young that actually you know, he discarded a whole batch of oil because it didn't live up to the standard that he wanted to provide us. So we can absolutely know that whatever we are taking, when we are talking about about the CBD or about the essential oils of Young Living, is that it's pure. It's safe to use on your pets and on your children and your whole family. So I'm going to be diving into some of the CBD products. So this is my, excuse the label, I use this like in my bag. This is my CBD citrus. So the CBD citrus, let me just carry on. Sorry, I'm juggling things, everything here. Just bear with me. So the CBD citrus oil contains orange and grapefruit, and it's mood boosting and it's uplifting, and it can help you when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So I drink my CBD in the morning because that gives me a nice lift for the day and gets me out the door all happy. And CBD orange is a great mood lifter. So then we're going to move over to, I don't have a sample of my Cool Mint. So Cool Mint has peppermint and spearmint. So this is peppermint and spearmint. In South Africa, we only get the 5 mils. They both, okay, so peppermint I use for digestion almost every day with another blend that we have called Digest. So it's very good for bloating, for discomfort, and for, like when you're at a restaurant, what is the thing that they bring you with your bill? They give you a peppermint or a spearmint sweetie. So that is just modern day man going back to original, the original plan that God had for us. So it's also great for oxygenating your body and your brain, and wonderful for mental clarity and focus. So when I feel a little bit overwhelmed, I use 2 oils. I use frankincense and I use peppermint. And frankincense calms me down and peppermint invigorates me. Yeah, I've got so many wonderful testimonies on peppermint. It's just that cools you down. You can use it in the summer to cool you down as well. And great for focus. And then we're going to move over to cinnamon bark. So cinnamon bark, I like to take this, my cinnamon at night. My cinnamon CBD, that's a cinnamon bark. So that is great for your immune system and for your cardiovascular health. So for heart health, February is heart month. So for heart health, and also helps you to sleep well. So that is always great to have. Then we're going to go over to the CBD Calm Roller. So I've got a whole stack of oils that's here in here. So it's lavender, vetiver. Vetiver is amazing for sleep and for just chilling. Eucalyptus. So eucalyptus is awesome to open up. Orange, our favorite orange again. Frankincense. So I don't go one day without frankincense because frankincense is the king of oils. And ylang ylang, once again, February, the month of love. It's one of our love oils. And this is what the CBD Calm Roller looks like. So the CBD Calm Roller is just absolutely amazing to help you relax and to calm you down. So when you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed or you feel you can't sleep, what I love to do is I love to just open the roller and I rub it here on my brainstem down there and around my jaw, and then I'm good to go. So then I'm ready to get into bed, chill from my day, and have a peaceful sleep. And then the next product I'm going to be chatting about is the CBD muscle rub. So I have had, you can see I've used mine extensively. I have a L4, L5 vertebra that isn't aligned properly. It's I always say I need to go back to factory setting because my one vertebra is actually moved a few millimeters over the other one. So I used to have chronic inflammation in that area. So that's why I started using as Ashley and everyone has told you, CBD oil works different for everyone. I take mine sublingually. We're not really allowed to say that we're taking it sublingually, but I do. I take a dropper and I put it under my tongue and I keep it there for 25 seconds. And then I rub this on my back. And before I met Young Living or knew about Young Living, I thought I was going to struggle with backache for the rest of my life. And I didn't want to go for an operation. And CBD is really, if I say CBD changed my world, it has changed my world. So CBD has clove and peppermints. Where's my peppermints? Tea tree and helichrysum. So helichrysum is amazing for bone healing. It's an expensive oil, but it's definitely an oil that you won't use every day, but it definitely has its place for bone health. And then wintergreen is also amazing. So when I was reading up about wintergreen, if you look at the molecular structure of wintergreen and you look at the molecular structure of aspirin, it's exactly the same. So aspirin was created synthetically in a laboratory and it was formulated from wintergreen. So people that can't take aspirin can't take wintergreen. That is the only caution with wintergreen. But this is also an amazing oil. I'm 51 now, so I've already got osteoporosis. You know, everybody that goes over the age of 35 has a certain degree of osteoporosis because your bones start getting more brittle and deteriorating. And if you ever have discomfort from osteoporosis or any bone issues, wintergreen is also an amazing oil. And then the other one in there is lemon. So lemon, yeah, it's when I opened my starter kit and I saw that it had lemon and I thought, okay, what am I going to do with lemon? And I found so many uses for lemon. So yeah, and if you rub this on, it's great for, as the graphic says, for sore muscles and for stiff joints. I don't know if you wanted to speak about the Beauty Boost, Ash. I think Ashley had some things with her kids to do, so she actually did us a massive favor, and I want to say thank you for her for joining us for the call. So today we discussed Young Living with you. We discussed Nature's Ultra with you. We hope you enjoyed it and we hope you found it very insightful. When I heard about cannabinoids and the endocannabinoidal system and isolates and full spectrum and smart spectrum, I didn't understand anything. So I hope that today's class has been absolutely amazing for you guys and that we've made it a little bit simpler for you to understand. And yeah, if you have been invited here or given this video to watch, if you're watching the replay, please, and you're interested in this, please contact the person that gave you the video or sent you the link or that sent you to this call, and they can help you and give you some more information. If you get stuck, you're welcome to contact any of us. My name is Laura, and it's been awesome spending tonight with you. Thank you very much, and bye.